Join lifelong Star Wars fans Lauren and Steph as they dive into the world of Star Wars fan fiction, discussing a new fic each month, breaking down the writing style, characters, canon relationship, and more. This is your source for Star Wars fan fiction recommendations. So come on and find out why it's one hell of a fanfic.
Hey y'all, I'm Lauren, and welcome to One Hell of a Fanfic, where we talk about a new Star Wars fanfic every month. And tonight I am here with Steph. How's it going, Steph?
Just great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about this fic. Just like with you might expect with Animal Crossing, which is what this fic is related to, there's not really a whole lot to say, but that is very much in the spirit of Animal Crossing. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Right. I was so lost for most of this. I did not play Animal Crossing. I'm a Stardew kind of human.
Well, so you kind of get the vibe though, because
Oh, yeah.
I feel like
cozy
a
potato
lot of
game.
yes, there's so much crossover between like just the reasons that people play those games. So I feel like you kind of get the vibe if you like Stardew Valley.
Yes.
That would be a good idea for a fanfic crossover. Stardew Valley and Star Wars.
Hey now. We'll look for it.
Yeah.
What do we read? We read No Turnip Sales on Sundays by blitzorithic. This
Cool.
was made in February of this year. It was only a little over 6,000 words, so it was super short to read. It did have a little bit of a spice level. So it was a 1. There was some kissing.
That did kind of catch me off guard, I'm not gonna lie. I
It
did
was
not
a Raylo
expect.
fanfic. What do you
It
expect?
is a Raylo, yeah.
This is definitely alternate universe.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cat found her way in.
Well, I mean, it's better than her just sitting there screaming, so now I get to look at Kitty Cattail. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that it's alternate universe since it is a crossover. So, I mean, one way or another, when we're combining two universes, it's obviously not going to be canon compliant usually.
No. Nothing about this was canon.
Okay, should I say tropes?
I hope so.
Okay, so tropes. So this one, I would say slice of life. Which is kind of a nice way of saying not a lot happens. It's kind of just more of like day to day. Which, that's really not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes a slice of life is nice. So I would say slice of life. I would say, I mean, of course it's a Raylo, so we do have a little bit of romance in there. Second chance romance to be specific. So yeah, I would say slice of life and second chance romance are probably your two most prominent ones.
I've never heard of either of those. I mean, I guess they both make sense. This is why you're the trope expert.
I do love a good trope. Yes.
So other information about this is this fanfic was written by someone who had not written a fanfic in 3 years and decided that they were going to pick up this year and look at all of their work in progress that they have in their Google Drive or Word something, they said. And this was the first one they picked up, and they're going to try to see how many of them they could actually get finished, which kudos to them, because
yeah.
my whips, which most of them are crochet projects, have a bin they're not going to be finished. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I've been there before with painting. It's kind of like, when am I going to finish all these? At some point, I will, but that day is not today. So
No. Whatever
get around to
inspiration
it.
started it, it's not going back.
Okay, so should I read the author summary now?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the blurb that the author wrote at the beginning of the fic, which goes, an Animal Crossing AU where Ben is the disgruntled island manager, aka Tom Nook, and Ray the art dealer, aka Red. They got a history. So that gives us just kind of like a little bit of background there. But why do you think people should read this?
I mean, you have to like Animal Crossing. That is the main thing. It's cute. And it's about Animal Crossing. It just seems to be just where they took Animal Crossing and they threw in Star Wars characters. And just that would be why.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, if you like Animal Crossing, this is a fun one to check out. It was fun trying to be like, oh, so which character's who, and how is that going to work? What does that character have in common with this character? Which I guess I'll get into more in a minute. But yeah, it was kind of like a fun little exercise of seeing like where they all fit together. So I did enjoy that aspect of it. Should I give my longer summary now?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so spoilers. If you are thinking about reading this one, if you don't want spoilers, there's going to be spoilers now. But, spoilers is a bit of a generous term. So, the thing about this fic is that if you play Animal Crossing, you know this. The reason that we play Animal Crossing is because we just want to chill. We don't want like a whole lot to be going on. We don't want anything crazy. Like, we want to go on the island. We want to like look at some bugs, purchase some things, like not anything too wild. And that is what makes Animal Crossing so great. And I feel like this fic captures that, in that when we're on the island, which is Achto, which I'm probably saying wrong. I always have a hard time pronouncing that one, so y'all know what I mean. Um when we're on the island, it is very much in the spirit of Animal Crossing of we're just walking around and we're just doing the day-to-day tasks. And so that's why I was calling this a slice of life, is because there's not like a whole lot of action or anything like that going on. It's Star Wars characters dropped in an Animal Crossing world. So that's just something to keep in mind. But so when we open up with the story, we do have Ben is the island manager. And he seems like he likes his job for the most part. He is responsible for just like the general managerial tasks. He's taking on the role of Tom Nook, basically. And we also have Rose, who is the island receptionist. She does the announcements every day. So she's taking on the role of Isabel. And then we also have Ray, who is like our other main character. Her and Ben are really the two main characters, and then Rose is kind of like a prominent side character. But Ray is the art dealer, so she's taking Red's place. And she has her little business of selling her art fraud paintings, some of which are frauds, some of which are not. And she's on the island. She still interacts with Ben on a pretty regular basis, but what we learn is that the two of them actually do have a history. And that's where the second chance romance comes in. So Poe is telling Rose one day some background about the two of them, because Rose is nosy in this fic and she wants to kind of just know, like, what's the deal between the two of them? And so Poe's telling her, well, they were supposed to actually run away together, but Ben never showed up. And so that kind of, that plan went down the toilet, hasn't been the same since. But you do get the sense that Ray hasn't really given up. Like, she still kind of shows up and is talking to Ben and is being really friendly, even though sometimes Ben is kind of like, I don't know, he's kind of like avoidant a little bit of it. Yeah. But eventually, one night, Ben does go to her boat, her sketchy boat, which is like run down, just like Red's boat is in the game. He goes and they talk it out. They finally kind of get to the bottom of it. It comes out that the reason he didn't show up is because he was concerned about his job, and kind of like, if I'm not there, then the whole island's gonna not run the way it's supposed to run, so I can't just leave. And so basically they do finally get to the bottom of it. Ray has a job too now, so they're kind of like, okay, well, let's make a plan. We're going to go on vacation. We're still going to do the trip, but this time it's going to be temporary. We're not going to like make a plan that we're going to run away forever. And they do that. They go on the vacation for a while, and Rose just kind of like takes over while they're gone. And it sounds like you do end the fic with the sense that they are going to come back to the island, and they're kind of just went on this vacation to sort of like kick off their relationship. So yeah, the end.
That was it. Yep, that was about the story. I like the little details along the way, because you're right, it is just like a day in the life of Ben
Yeah, day in the
as an
life
island manager.
as island manager, exactly. Yeah. That's pretty much what it is.
Oh, this story was written in third person, and we kind of just follow Ben around the entire time.
Yeah, yeah. Good point.
Yeah, let's talk about the characters. You mentioned most of them.
Yeah, so we have Ben, who is AKA Tom Nook, island manager. We have Ray, art dealer slash scammer, who is taking the place of Red. Rose, who is kind of like the receptionist, taking the place of Isabel. And we also had Poe Dameron as well, but I couldn't tell if he was supposed to fit like a specific role or if he was just kind of a resident of the island. I think he was just a resident of the island.
Yeah, they mentioned he was the only sheriff there,
Yeah.
which I thought
Okay.
was fitting enough.
And then we also did have Yoda too,
Yeah.
who was the plant sales. So he was taking the place of Leaf. So
Yeah, they mentioned a couple of different miscellaneous. They mentioned Finn was annoying. Um,
So
that
where did Finn come in? Because I was thinking, when I finished this fic, I was like, I'm surprised we didn't see more of Finn. Did I just completely miss Finn?
he was mentioned. Like Ben had
Okay.
mentioned him in his musings about something how of all the people and things he has to do, and Finn was bothersome to him. And
Okay.
it was
So Finn is there. Okay.
yeah.
Good. I was gonna say, I was like, it felt. I think that was just my own fault that I missed that, but I was like surprised that Finn wasn't more prominent. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think of who I would even make Finn be. Oh, I forgot. You know what? I just forgot. Okay, I just realized I was thinking about who I would make Finn, and then I forgot to mention that Din is also in this.
Yes.
And Din he's the museum curator, so he takes Blathers's place. I totally forgot about Din. Poor Din.
Oh, me too. He was in the beginning, and then something about wanting to expand a museum at the end.
Yeah. That's one of the objectives of the game is you can make the museum bigger. So
Oh, that sounds very exciting.
yeah, it's a big deal when you do that. So
Stardew has something similar.
yeah. Okay, well, as you were reading this, did you have any thoughts, reactions, anything?
Um, I was confused by the name, but I do know from my children that there's something about you don't because the name is no turnip sales on Sunday, and they had nothing to do with the fic at all, except for it has everything to do with Animal Crossing, and I knew that much, but I didn't. Other than that, I was like, why would they name it that? Mostly, all my feelings were confusion and what you kind of described in the last episode, where I was like, here's what's going on, all of these references to the Hades Persephone myths. And you're like, "Oh, okay. Things are making more sense now." That's how I felt the entire time. I was like, "I am missing a lot." There's
I could see how if you aren't familiar with Animal Crossing, I could see how this fic would be kind of like, or I mean, sorry, not familiar, because you're familiar with it. I could see how if you haven't played it before, it could be kind of like, what is this reference about? Like, what is this? Like, well, who cares if the museum is expanded? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but if you play Animal Crossing, you know that it's actually a big deal to expand the museum. So, yeah, I could see that being kind of like, hmm. So, that makes sense.
I assume your reactions were much different than mine.
Well, I was smiling. I was smiling with I was having fun with the Animal Crossing references, and I liked the little daily announcements that they included at different sections in the fic because it does reflect like when you first open the game starts with Isabel giving the daily announcements, and it's very similar to how Rose is doing it, like very similar kind of tone and wording and things like that. So that kind of stuff was fun because it felt like very much like the game. So that was cool. And also just trying to think about who's who and being like, oh, okay, so Ray is selling the art. Okay, so Ray's red, which totally makes sense because in the movies, Ray is a scavenger and she's like scavenging these parts and selling them to Unkar Plutt and trading them or whatever, which is kind of like what Red does with selling his like fraudulent art that he like finds somewhere, probably. Like, I don't know where exactly he gets this art, but it's definitely like a weird scenario with Red. And so it made sense that Ray was filling that role. So that kind of stuff was fun. Just like being like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense that so and so is going to be this character, you know. And I feel like Rose was a good pairing with Isabel too, which I hadn't even thought about that, but the way that Rose just kind of like talks and just her mannerisms in the movie, I could totally see her being like in just kind of having some things in common with Isabel too. So that was fun as well. That's it.
So what was your favorite scene?
Probably Ray's weird boat. And when Ben goes and visits and is like, man, this place is weird.
Yeah. And the sign out front that's like something about how they're real paintings. No, really, they're real.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so like Red too in the game. So again, it was just a fun parallel. That and the island announcements, those are probably my two favorites. I guess the island announcements is not really a scene, but it was a nice little touch that made it feel like the game. So I really liked that.
My favorite was the how Rose announced that Ben was going home sick and maybe everyone should bring him soup or something if they have it on hand. And then he was just for the rest of the afternoon bombarded with like bowls of soup. And he had to leave.
Because nobody's doing anything. Everybody is just chilling and they don't have jobs or anything. So everybody brings him the soup.
Oh.
That was so cute. I loved that. How many residents were on the island though? Because that's another part of the game is like how many residents you can have at different stages in the game. So I mean, if he has that much soup, they must have a lot of residents.
So you're telling me he is doing good? He's in like end game level good?
They probably do have a 5-star island, I would think. Which is that's a big deal. It's actually not that hard to get a 5-star island. You just have to like not have it be horrible.
Okay, so what my biggest question is how much did they change the plot of Animal Crossing at all, or is this I don't know anything.
So basically with Animal Crossing, there's not really much of a plot to it. It's more so just like you have different milestones that you can reach if you want, but you don't have to reach them if you don't want to. And that's kind of like the appeal of the game is you can just kind of make what you want of it. So like I was just joking about the whole 5-star island thing. That's one of your milestones is if you get a 5-star island, then you just like unlock some extra things that you can do. And the milestones are usually like pretty attainable and like pretty simple. You just have like a few like things that you have to do to get to the milestone. And that just keeps the game simple enough to where you can just have fun with it and just kind of like explore, and you're not feeling like pressure of like, oh, I have to like do this stuff to be able to enjoy the game. So there wasn't really a plot that it changed. It was more so just like, so some of the milestones, the fic kind of mentions them, like expanding the museum. That's one of the milestones. Or like finding bugs to put in the museum. Like eventually you can fill up your museum with all of the bugs in the game.
Bugs. Okay.
Yeah. So just kind of stuff
I'm sure
like
you
that.
love that. All of the bugs.
Yeah. No, I thankfully the bugs in this game are mostly not gross. So
mostly not gross.
There's a couple of like spiders and stuff, but most of them are butterflies. So
okay.
Yeah, but so that was kind of where it kind of, you know, referenced some of those milestones, followed some of that part of the game, but there wasn't really a plot or anything that it even had to stick to because the game is so open-ended. So
okay.
Yeah.
In the description of it, the author did say something about having seen like a meme or a GIF or something somewhere about how I'm forgetting the name. Tom Nook and Red had a secret romance that had caused the residents of the island to be very um, uncomfortable or something, and that's what they had used as like a writing prompt for this.
Yeah, I don't think that is like canon to the game. I think it was yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think they said it was based on maybe just like kind of like a silly concept that someone had thrown out there.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I mean, that is a funny idea though, because especially because the two of them are so like business minded. They're like the two like business minded characters. So I could see them having that in common. Okay. Well, I have a question for you. Why do you think that Finn wasn't more prominent in this? Do you have any theories on that?
Probably because it's so short. Being such a short fic, it's kind of hard to put so much in there. I do love that the author did put it in there. Like he's there somewhere on the island, but there's not much room for him to be a big part.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I guess I'm just used to Finn. I feel like in a lot of fics that I've read, Finn does have more of a part.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe I've just gotten used to Finn just being there,
Yes.
but
It's
you're
unusual
probably
to
right.
see Poe, but you don't see Finn. Like that's feels backwards, but I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. And like also, I mean, if we were gonna if Finn was even gonna be in here, it's kind of like you said, like it's a short fic. What character would we even put him as? I don't even know, because I was trying to think of it a minute ago and nothing was really coming to me as to where I would fit him in. So maybe it's just that he's not front and center. It's just maybe not that type of a story where Finn needs to be front and center, you know.
In Animal Crossing, what kind of creature is Tom Nook and what kind of creature is Red? Because I need to be able to picture this when they're
Oh,
kissing in the boat.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Tom Nook is a raccoon and Red is a fox.
Acceptable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, should we talk about what we're reading next month?
I hope so. What did you pick?
Okay, so I actually picked a fic by an author that we have read before.
Mm.
So the fic that I chose is What You Are, Where You Come From by Hi Nerds It's Cat. And this author actually wrote The More You Tighten Your Grip, which we read a few months back, which was the Leia Tarkin one, where it's
Oh.
like second person Leia just watched Alderaan be destroyed and then go from there. And it was really good. So I thought we should read something else of theirs because I really liked that first one that we read. And so this one that we're going to be reading is an alternate universe in the Rebellion era where Satine lives. So it's Obi-Wan and Satine.
Oh. Oh, I do love that pairing.
Yes, me too. That and I wish that she lived. So I'm excited to read that one.
Well, where can our listeners find us?
Okay, so we are on Instagram, which is one hell of a fanfic with a period in between every word. That's where we post new episodes, upcoming episodes. And then we also are on YouTube where we post our video recordings of our episodes. And our YouTube channel is one hell of a fanfic.
And if you would like to like and subscribe at places, we would appreciate it.
Yes, please subscribe to our YouTube, especially because it helps us on YouTube. And also, I mean, then you'll know when we post a new video and it's just right there. So there you go. Why not? Why
Oh,
not subscribe?
exactly. And we've suddenly started having a Tumblr presence. It turns out that's where the fanfic community is on Tumblr, which I've never been on Tumblr prior to this point. I don't feel like a real fanfic fan. That felt weird to say.
I mean, I knew that they would discuss it on Tumblr because I actually got some recs from Tumblr before. But yes, I have not previously had a Tumblr presence myself. So makes sense that, we should be on there. And also I love hearing from the authors. Like, we have talked to
Yes.
some of the nicest people whose work that we have covered, who have just been so awesome and supportive and kind. So, like, shout out to all the fanfic authors for being so nice and just lovely to talk to.
Yes. I absolutely adore when we're able to, like, put something out and they're just as excited that we covered it as we were to read it.
Totally. And that's why, I mean, the fanfic community is just so awesome, because I feel like that's what makes fanfic really special, is it's a bunch of people in conversation and kind of like building off of each other and stuff like that. And I do feel like a lot of that happens on Tumblr, so it's good that we're joining that now. All right, cool. Well, we will see y'all next month. Thanks so much for joining us at One Hell of a Fanfic. On this podcast, we discuss Star Wars fan fiction, but we do not own the rights to Star Wars or any of the written works we cover. We have no affiliation with Lucasfilm or the fanfic authors we credit for their work. For questions, please email us at onehellofafanfic@gmail.com.